testimonial. Today's technically day 5. We skipped day 4 and 3. Not 2. 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Right. So it's day 5.
So day 3 was our wedding day. So we did actually quite a bit on wedding day. I mean, not like a ton, but I think different than normal people probably spend their wedding day. So we got up on, that was Tuesday morning, and we drove from our cabin in Kalispell to the neighboring town of Big Fork, which we found out was a lot closer to our cabin in Kalispell. We were driving like 20 or 30 minutes to go into town to Kalispell, when in fact Big Fork was actually like
7 minutes.
Yeah, so cool. Great thing to figure out on the last day there. But we went to Big Fork and we saw Flathead Lake, which was beautiful. We went into the little state park there.
Took a few photos of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
It's the largest lake west of the Mississippi.
Really big. It was a big lake.
490 feet deep at the deepest.
Yeah.
And 28 miles long. And I don't know what the width of it was, but
It's a big lake. And then they have a little historic downtown area. It's cute. It's quaint. It's obviously they're building some cutie new little restaurants and type things, but they had a lot of little like boutique short. It was kind of like St. Charles.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Gitchy, artisty.
It was cute. Yeah, a little art gallery.
Little historic walk downtown of different things. They had their own power plant, hydropower plant. And they had a rickety old bridge with a wood deck
So sketchy.
that only one car was allowed on at a time.
John made me stand on it while multiple cars drove over it at one time, and you could feel it and hear like every screw and rivet. And he's like, "Oh, look at this old construction. These are hot rivet something or other." It didn't make me feel confident. I basically ran off that bridge
It held
to
us fine.
land. It was sketchy. And then in the little downtown area, we stopped at Wilcoxon's famous ice cream store, and John had wedding day breakfast huckleberry ice cream, and I had a mocha frappe, which was essentially just like a coffee milkshake. It was good. They were both delicious. And then we went home to the cabin, and I started getting wedding ready. Well, no. First, we YouTubed how to fold a pocket square.
Yeah.
I know how to do it so many ways now.
I've done the little, like, just pull it like a napkin through a hole.
That's called the poof. Or you can also do reverse poof that way. But if you want to be fancy, you have to do like the stairs or 3 points or 4 points. I've mastered the stairs. I'm really good at it now. John also learned how to tie a full Windsor knot for his tie. And then I started getting ready, which was fine. It was probably the most stressful for me part of the whole entire ordeal. I spent 2 hours pinning my hair up to be like, meh, and took my hair back down, which was a solid choice, for sure. And then we went to our wedding, where we got married. Which was awesome. It's beautiful on the lake shore
of Lake McDowell.
And it's a place called Ryan's Meadow. I think we talked about this previously. And it was beautiful, just the two of us, and it was just very quiet and peaceful, and
The officiant did a good job.
she did a great job. It was beautiful. I think I found her voice very soothing, and I think everything she said was really meaningful. And I loved it. I can't imagine having done it any other way. So I think we made the best choice possible, for sure. And then, so we hired an awesome photographer. Her name's Marianne, and I love her so much. I just want to be best friends with her. She is basically Kelly Tracy in someone else's body. She just has like
The exact same personality.
exuberant, awesome, fun personality, and I just want to hang out with her. And she takes amazing pictures. Now, let's go back to when we hired her, and she and I were going back and forth via email. I had asked what type of footwear I should plan on wearing when I started having to have fittings done with my dress. I said, do I need like hiking boots? Obviously not heels, because as you'll see in our wedding photos, you know, we knew we were going to be down on this rock shore, and that there was probably some areas that it looked like to me like we were going to have to hike a bit to get there. And she assured me, no, absolutely not. We were not going to ever
Very
walk
small amount of walking.
more
Very
than like
small.
100 feet from the car. So I was like, cool, she's got all the tricks. She's photoshopping these paths out. No. I think it's kind of like the lady who told us to get back on the highway when we were getting the license, which actually meant walk across the street. So 100 feet translates to literally hiking 3/4 of a mile.
And about a 300-foot elevation gate.
Going over a fence and then scaling a very, very, very tall, smooth rock. I'm confident these pictures are going to be amazing and worth it, but after our first photo location, my ankles were bloody, and John had slid down a rock, not on purpose. It looked cool, but it was not on purpose.
Slick bottom loafers, or whatever you call them.
They were
men's
dress shoes. They were dress shoes.
They're like made out of wood on the bottom. They are not conducive to any kind of trail hike or rock climbing. But I did, like I said, I had to slide that one out because I knew I was going to fall if I tried it, so I slid it out. I don't think I damaged the suit in any way. And I think she might have gotten several photos of it.
I'm really excited to hopefully see some.
We'll see what comes out from that.
I now have giant open wounds on the back of my ankles that we've just been...
From kids.
From kids. They really tore me up because I don't think they're meant for climbing. It's okay. I'm not mad about it. Like I said, I'm pretty sure these pictures are going to definitely be epic, but...
And those kids forever will hold your bloodstains.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be memorable. I'm just saying, go us, because we did full-blown hiking and climbing in a full suit and men's dress shoes and a completely lace...
While holding a train.
Wedding dress with a 4-foot train. Okay. So we took all these amazing photos, and it was beautiful, and we had a good time with Marianne, and...
On the way down from the summit, we got stuck in construction.
We did, so we had to miss one of our photo locations. I'm not sure which one it was, and that's probably for the better, because I don't want to be sad that I missed it. So we got stuck for probably an hour in construction, and we just had talked and laughed and had a good time. But by the time we got back down to the bottom, I don't know what hit me, if it was the fact that I had been kind of like nervous and anxious all day to get ready and get everything going, or so I didn't really eat that much, and I probably was definitely dehydrated and maybe a little bit of elevation. And we were sitting in the back seat of her vehicle, and she drove that pass that she drives probably every day a lot quicker than we did. So my tender little tummy got a little bit sick. So as soon as she pulled off from dropping us off back at our vehicle, I puked my guts up. And then we still had to drive an hour back to our cabin, where we had to pull over a couple times for me to, again, puke my guts up. And then when we got back to the cabin, John got the dress off me so that I could puke my guts up and then lay down and pass out. I woke up the next morning and puked just a little bit and was severely dehydrated, horrifically dehydrated. And
Got some Pepto?
I had a little bit of Pepto and some Gatorade and got my life right. Had a conversation with baby Jesus, and he set me straight. It was good. Everything was fine.
We got the Airbnb all together. Everything picked up. What we had to do,
Checked out.
Put the bed sheets at the bottom of the bed on the floor.
There was like specific instructions that we had
Take
to
the
leave.
trash out to the garage.
Yeah. Start the dishwasher. Yeah.
Well, we got that done.
We did all
Left
that.
there.
We left. That's when we got the Pepto and the Gatorade, and then I was ready to go. So we went hiking.
Well, when we got our sandwiches.
Oh, we stopped at West Glacier. What's it called?
Convenience store,
There's
big
like a
grocery
little
store.
right?
Yeah.
It's not inside the park. It's like on the road leading directly into the park.
It's on the Going Sun Road, but before you enter the park.
These people have it figured out. And so we stopped for lunch stuff to put in our cooler for a day of hiking, and got some sandwiches that we definitely paid for the convenience of at $9 per sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
They were good,
And
but
pickles.
I mean,
Sandwiches, pickles, couple
Pickled-
meat sticks,
pickled carrots, jalapeno cheese
and some
curds,
jalapeno cheese curds was
Some
50
string
some 50
cheese.
some odd dollars.
a Gatorade, Pepto Bismol. It was quite a bit, but yeah, no, it was. We were paying for convenience for sure. So we got all of that together, and then we headed into the park to start hiking. So the first hike that we did,
We pulled over at the Avalanche parking area.
yep, Avalanche parking area, and we did Trail of the Cedars, which is beautiful, but it's mostly a boardwalk trail. It's pretty much completely level.
Paved,
It was,
like chat paved. I mean, there's a couple people on easy-go scooters, you know,
Yeah.
hover rounds on it.
it was nice. It was beautiful.
It was 0.9 miles, and I think we did like a 1.5 or 1 3/4 of it because we started at a wrong point and wrapped back past where we parked, and then we did the full loop, and then we had to go back up it again halfway to get to the beginning of the next trail that we hiked.
which was the Avalanche Lake Trail. That one is how long? 4?
2.4?
No, that's longer than that.
No, one way. Wasn't it? 4.3?
I don't know. I guess I didn't write that down. I thought it was total. I think it was like 5 miles. So I guess 2.5 out and 2.5 back. But we added some additional on because the trail actually ended at the beginning of the lake, and we went all the way to the end of the lake. And
Where the waterfalls are coming down.
right, it was so beautiful. I mean, the calmest water ever. Like when we were looking at our pictures, you honestly, if you turn the photo one way or another, you can't tell which side is the actual mountains and which side is the reflection. It's so crisp and clear and perfect.
There's almost like 700 foot of elevation gain there, but pretty much the whole time you were following the creek that came out of that lake. And that creek cut some really cool paths, and that's where we had some of our wedding photos taken, going through the glacial rock.
That's
but-
actually where we had the wedding photos taken that caused the bloody ankles in the power slide.
Yeah.
Was right
Yeah.
there.
So when we hiked up there, all that, the waterfalls is water coming from glacial and snow melt up top that's constantly cascading down. And so we got down there, we were a little wore out, so we sat down. There was a U.S. park ranger sitting there talking to some people. We sat down next to them and had a snack. And sitting on the ground was almost ice cold. And we realized that the creek was flowing underneath us through the rock underneath the dirt, so it was air conditioning the soil. So just sitting on it, it was like ice cold. It cooled you right down.
It was so nice because yesterday it was like 90 degrees outside, which is unseasonably warm, I think, for here.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons, not the reason, but a contributing factor to our choice to come here to get married in August was the fact that Google, thanks Google, says that the average high temperature here in August is like 70. So when it got up to 91, it was hot. I mean, it's not like 91 at home. Definitely not, because there's not as much, like, near the humidity here, if any.
And when we first started hiking this, we have our hiking boots on. We got our backpacks that have, our hydration bladders for cold water and, our snacks and stuff in it. And
They're heavy.
we're thinking, oh my God, are we way overdoing it for this hike or something? There's just tons of people going on this trail, and they're wearing just like basketball shorts and flip-flops, and don't
like
have
flip-flops.
nothing. Literal flip-flops.
Like Old Navy flip-flops.
But what we realized as we went further and further, and especially on the way back, that less than 1/100th of the people that started that trail made it to the lake.
I was going to say, I'd say 1 out of every 50, so 2%. Of the massive crowd that we started with on the trail, almost no one made it to the end. When we got to the end, it was like 5. There was like 5 of us sitting on the other side of the lake, which was nice. It was quiet and peaceful. I was surprised, no matter how far they made it, the amount of people that brought their very small children, which it's a nice family activity. Let them burn some energy, get hiked.
number one cause of death in Glacier, though, was drowning. Yeah.
And I mean, there's like, these are huge waterfalls in a lake and very, 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 very uneven. This is not like going and walking around a park at home. This is like, a mountain.
And they don't put guardrails to keep you from falling into stuff.
I mean, if you had like a 3-year-old kid and they ran away, they could very easily run off the side of a cliff and die. Not to mention the fact that it's, heavily populated with bears, wolves, elk, moose, all kinds of things wolves that could kill you. So I found it interesting how many young children were just running free. Or also I found it interesting, go girls, the amount of heavily pregnant women were hiking this thing.
A lot of pregnant women.
We were dying. I mean, not dying, like it was fine.
Afterwards, we were fine.
But
in the process of going up those slopes,
we had to take a couple of breaks because it didn't hurt your body anywhere, but
muscles.
You just couldn't breathe. I mean, it was just crazy. And again, we're not used to the altitude. But I mean, these people, some of these women, like I thought they were gonna have to lay down on the side of the trail and like give birth. They were so pregnant. I'm just thinking like, you definitely are at diminished lung capacity at this point. I cannot believe you're doing a hike with this much of an elevation gain. Get it, girl. Stay active. Go you. I don't think I'm gonna be that person. I'm just saying.
So after chilling out for a while and sitting down on what Kelly referred to as the butt refrigerator,
it was so nice.
The cold ground, we got up and we headed back, and the hike back was pretty easy because it was pretty much all downhill. So once it got a little sketchier, like where it's hard to maintain your footing, we got our hiking sticks out and used them to help us down some of the larger ledges to keep our balance.
You have to use the professional term, trekking poles.
Our trekking poles.
Yeah.
Out to help us keep our balance getting down some of these larger ledges and stuff. But we got back fine. When we got back, then we were hungry. It's time to eat.
I was starving because I've now not eaten since lunchtime on Tuesday, where I ate a bowl of salad and half of a piece of leftover pizza, and then proceeded to vomit my brains out all night into the morning, and then I had a Gatorade and some Pepto. Now I've hiked 5 miles up and down a mountain in 90-degree weather. I was starving.
So we had our sandwiches there at the little picnic area in the avalanche parking area, and it's also a campground, a small little campground. But they had to shut the campground down and get rid of all of the people that were in tents because of the bear activity.
A bear went in a tent where there was no food or people. It went in it.
Just trashed it up looking for something, but there was no food or people, so they don't know what's going on. So they got rid of all the tent campers. Well, so we had our lunch there at a picnic table emblazoned with a huge symbol of bears smell food, don't feed bears, and there's bears around you.
I was hungry. So we ate.
We ate it anyway.
We left there.
Yeah.
And then by the time, at that point, it was like 3:30, and check-in time at this hotel, which is the Belton Chalet, was at 3, so we were good to come here. By the time we got here, it was a little after 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk about the Belton Chalet. It is a National Historic Landmark. Is that what you call it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Let me just pan around the room slowly.
why don't you take a peeky? Don't mind. It's dirty, We've been living here. Okay. Just towels and whatnot. It's rustic. We have no air conditioning, no TV. The bathroom is a little tiny, and the sink is here on the outside, here in our room. The slogan of the Belton Chalet on the little book that they left us is, "Where the way it was still is," and that is so accurate. I'm surprised there's even electricity, but it's an experience, and we booked it for that reason. We were really gung-ho about it in the beginning. We were like, oh, this is gonna be
It's
so
a historic
fun.
lodge.
It's a historic lodge. We're gonna
It's
get
haunted.
the experience. It's haunted as F, number 1. And number 2, Here.
Right now it's not bad.
No, it's not bad. We have a fan in the window. And,
I don't know what it was. It felt like it was 80, but it was actually 74 this morning.
Yesterday it was 90 degrees, and today it was only like 62 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So it has cooled off a little bit. Obviously, as I sit here in a sweatshirt. But we do have a fan in the window. In hindsight, I might have only just booked this for like maybe one day to get the experience instead of 3 days.
The bed is historic to the 1800s as well.
Yeah. The floors are very creaky. We're on the base floor. There are floors above us. You can hear everything. We,
You can hear every train that goes by outside.
there is train tracks across the street, which is actually why this hotel was originally built, was to
Mhm.
accommodate
It was
the
the
railroad.
train hotel. That's the Amtrak that runs outside now, but this was the Great Northern Railroad's
Mhm.
Empire Builder Line hotel.
Oh, we were concerned when they sent us down the hallway to our room, besides the fact that it's clearly haunted because it's 100 plus years old. The first room that you pass on the right has a giant sign on it that says bath, and we were like, oh my god, this has shared bathrooms. Like, we are gonna have, this is gonna be a community bathroom situation. So we were more than relieved when we made it to our room and there was at least this tiny bathroom with, you know, toilet and shower in here. So that was a plus. Last night we had dinner reservations at their restaurant, which,
There's one level down outside.
yeah, we just walked down there and sat in the tap room and had a couple of cocktails and a
Mhm.
cheese board, which was delicious. And then we went in and had dinner. Dinner was good, but oh, you might be hearing a train come through now. I don't know if that will pick up, but sometimes they honk or horn. I don't know what they call that. Toot toot. It was very hot in the restaurant as well, and very, very tight spaced. But it was good, for sure. It was yummy.
Then we wanted to kill some time because our reservation for dinner wasn't until 9 o'clock that night. So we're like, well, hey, let's go over to West Glacier Village. See what all there is.
There's nothing.
Nothing.
That was before we ate dinner. Obviously, we skipped that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's absolutely nothing in West Glacier.
Just a gas station
Just-
and grocery store.
Yeah. So then we had dinner, we left dinner, and we went and got ice cream, and it was delicious. And then we came back here, where we just kind of plotted out what we were going to do today, and went to bed when it was still daylight out at 9 o'clock.
So
And
that was day 4.
Today is day 5. Day 5, we stopped, let's see, we got up at 5 in the morning and got ready and drove to Mini Glacier, but to get to Mini Glacier, the easiest route we were told was to go like kind of down and around the park,
On Route 2, and so, or on Highway 2, so we did that.
which takes you through
But we took the wrong highway when we got to Browning.
Browning.
We took Highway 89 instead of Highway 465. And Highway 89 is the scenic route. So we figured, no big deal. We're early. We're going to see all kinds of scenes. So this is good.
We went through the Blackfeet Indian Reservation,
Herds of roaming buffalo.
like a lot of them, and wild horses, wildish horses, and cows just walking across the streets.
No fences.
With no
Just
fences.
open range.
We're told Montana is a fence-out state, so you don't have to have fences to keep your animals in, but if you don't want the animals to come on your property, you have to build a fence. Okay. So, yeah, Browning, where we went through, and some of the other places are just so poor. so poor.
Poor and dilapidated.
Yeah, it was really,
Non-maintained.
really kind of sad. But we went through there and then we stopped at St. Mary's and we stopped to get sandwiches and stuff for lunch today, where it turns out they had the exact same sandwiches that cost $9. They were the same.
They're in cahoots.
Mm-hmm. And then we traveled into the park from the east side through the mini glacier entrance.
Oh.
Yep.
Mini Glacier entrance.
The first place that we stopped.
We went from St. Mary's up to Babb.
Yeah.
St. Mary's is where the Going to Sun Road ends
Mm-hmm.
at Highway 89, and then we took 89 on the way up to Babb then. And Babb is where and it's really horrible down there.
Yeah.
And it's also got the Indian name, which we couldn't pronounce. It was way too long.
Like 26 letters, I felt like. I don't even know.
And 2 vowels.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we turned into Mini Glacier entrance, went up that road. Mini Glacier roads are totally different. They are not well
We
maintained.
skipped this part.
Yeah.
We skipped the. Okay. You talk about this part because you know more about road construction than I do.
The road on the way up there was under construction, and typically a road's under construction. They put some cones up, they shift lanes, they keep traffic flowing. You may have to go slower and go around some obstacles. Well, apparently on an Indian reservation, they just say to hell with normal conventions and do it their own way. So they just completely rip the road out, run a road grader down alongside the road to flatten it out, and then just drop a pilot car on it, and you got to follow this pilot car driving off road
8
for
miles.
miles.
Like 8 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Maybe 7.
and there's literally dump trucks. We followed a water sprayer. There's 2 belly pan scrapers following us down the road, dumping dirt and scraping it up. We were driving through the actual construction. Like they were constructing behind us and in front of us, and we were driving over top of it.
It was a very educational experience. So that took a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then we made it up into the park.
Mm-hmm.
So the first place we stopped, we did a hike at Appoquinnie Falls. And that one was really pretty and it was quiet. It was very early in the morning, so there was nobody out and the temperature was beautiful. But it was a pretty serious hike. I mean, it isn't that long. I think it was like a little over 2 miles total, but a pretty good elevation gain for, I think it's a mile in and a mile out. And the mile in, you gain over 700 feet. So, and the trail is narrow, like very, very narrow.
So, for reference, that's, the St. Louis Arch is 660 or some odd feet tall, 663 feet tall or something like that. Yeah, so that's taller than any building in St. Louis.
So we climbed the arch over the course of a mile.
Plus 7 more stories.
Yeah. So it was pretty hardcore. We did some work. But again, it didn't really hurt the body at all. It's just the elevation kind of gets you right in the lungs.
Mm-hmm.
But it was beautiful. We got to the end and there's a gorgeous waterfall. A lot of like thick wildflowers and different types of grasses and trees and things on the way up there. So I really thought we were probably going to get mauled by a bear at some point. We didn't, thank God. We didn't see any animals except for some cutie little like chipmunk type things.
Then we went to the Mini Glacier Hotel.
We drove to Mini Glacier Hotel. Beautiful, right on, what lake is that? Swift Current Lake?
Yeah.
Yep, right on Swift Current Lake, and we went in there and they have a cute little coffee snack shop downstairs. So we got coffees and breakfast sandwiches and went and sat out on the patio and, in front of the lake and drank our coffee and ate our sandwich and took some pictures.
And they had some pictures of what it looks like during the winter, and it snows well over 20 feet deep there.
Yeah, up over past the second story.
And so like the caretakers, it's literally like The Shining.
They just have to live
They have to live there, and they can't go anywhere because they're snowed in 20 foot deep.
Crazy. It was absolutely crazy, but it was beautiful. And they have this giant big dining room. It's super historic, and they had a lot of information about, when it was originally built and the beginnings of the park, all of that stuff. So we kind of got a lot of that information, and then
You got a second ornament?
I did. I got another ornament for our tree. I love my Christmas ornaments. So I got an ornament for my kitchen tree. And then this is where it kind of started to go down for a minute. So we, hindsight is 2020, should not have left the mini Glacier Hotel. We should have hopped on a trailhead from there. But we did not do our research. We left with the notion that we were going to go up the road to the Swift Current Motor Inn and hop on a trailhead there. But by now, it's almost noon, and this is when everybody comes out. So there was nowhere to park. We stopped that parking lot.
For 35, 40 minutes.
I
Just
was going to say an hour. Circling, trying to find a place to park, waiting for people to leave. Nobody was leaving. It just wasn't going to happen. So we said, well, do a little research on our hiking map, and it turns out there was a similar trail at the Mini Glacier Hotel. And we were like, oh, kick yourself in the butt. Well, whatever. When we were just there was parking. It's fine. So we drive back up to the Mini Glacier Hotel. No parking. Zero parking. So we
lost our parking space, and we couldn't get it back.
And we did the same thing, where we drove the parking lot and stalked for 35 to 40 minutes, and we said, let's give Swift Current one more try. So we drove back down there to the same thing. At this point, we've now been driving in this same 1 mile circle, checking these two parking lots for nearly 2 hours. John got a little cranky.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. So then we decided to just leave there altogether and went to, where did we even go?
Came back to go into Sunburn.
Yeah.
So then we stopped and we hiked the trail on the going to Sun Road at St. Mary's Lake.
Yeah, but I can't think right now what it was called.
Babbitt or
No. It was called, I guess it doesn't matter what it's
something
called.
Falls. I don't know.
Something, no, because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. We hiked another trail that ended
At the waterfall.
at the waterfall. And it was a short one with not a terrible elevation gain, so it was a nice little hike. But when we got to this waterfall, we stopped and we took some pictures. It was beautiful. And about the time that we were turning around to come back, which again, this was also a very narrow trail up over some big rocks and banks.
Yeah, steep drop off right down to the lake.
Yeah.
Loose,
All you have to do is
rock.
just not pay attention, and you could just walk right off it and die. It's insane. So by the time when we were turning around and leaving from the waterfall, so many people showed up with these small kids. We're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Whatever. So we start hiking back up the trail, and we see somebody has abandoned a stroller.
They got a stroller,
Why did
like
you even
3/4
try?
of a mile into this rock boulder trail, then gave up. I mean, they should have gave up after the first 10 foot.
They should have gave up before they started. There is no reason.
There's a Great Coast stroller sitting on the side of the trail. It was not there when we came through.
No.
I mean, it was from that group.
They ditched it. So yeah, we walked back, hiked back up, and then started driving back going to the Sun Roads.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped at a couple places. Stopped at Wild Goose Island to take some pictures.
Mm-hmm. Several other places.
Yeah.
The Canyon Pass with the creek coming down through the Slot Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
Several other places we stopped, all kinds of places for photos, and waterfalls and everything else. It started raining, so we're like, okay, we're just going to go on and drive to go on the Sun Road back.
Ate some lunch. We had our lunch.
We had our lunch.
It was good. Sammy's. And then we decided to stop at John's Lake Trail.
Mm-hmm.
It's called John's Lake. It was not a bad trail by any means,
And
but
that's just past Lake McDonald Lodge.
right. Considering the other beautiful, amazing scenery that we've had so far, it was kind of disappointing. Because
It was just kind of like a little, maybe 5-acre mountain lake that had lily pads, and it was hidden away. I mean, there was no big views around it because the trees were so tall.
it was just kind of uneventful, but it was very peaceful,
Very quiet.
quiet.
Old growth cedar trees, probably 3-foot diameter, 200-foot tall,
It's also a
thick
horse
moss carpet.
trail. So there's a lot of horse poop.
A lot of horse poop.
A lot of horse poop. So, I mean, overall, it wasn't terrible, but like I said, in comparison to a lot of the other trails that we've done so far and things we've seen, it was just kind of like, that was like going on a hike at home, almost. You know,
Mhm.
it was kind of just going through the woods. It was beautiful, but just not up to snuff with everything else that we'd seen so far. And then we just drove, in the opposite direction past the entrance
Mm-hmm.
towards the Canadian border a bit, into a little bit past the Apgar section of the park.
Past Apgar and up past Fish Camp,
hmm
Fish Lake Camp.
They must have definitely had some fires there last year or the year previous because a lot was burned out. A lot.
A lot of all brand new pines coming up, but you know they're only
Mhm.
5-6 foot tall.
Right. So, after we got done kind of seeing what there was to see over there, we decided to go eat dinner at a restaurant called Josephine's.
Saw Customs and Border Patrol asleep in their car,
Yeah, taking a little nappy.
watching that border good.
Yep. Well, because, you know, all the Canadians are breaking in. So, yeah, we went and ate dinner and had some hummus and buffalo chicken and gumbo and
At Josephine's Kitchen and
bar.
which was really good.
A couple of really strong moonshine cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
And then we came back here.
And now here we are. John's had a shower, and I'm going to do the same because I'm gross after a day of hiking.
So we caught you up to days 4 and 5. And
3,
we'll-
4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5. And we'll get back to you.
Tomorrow's our last day in Glacier National Park. So we're going to try and make it epic. And then we'll start traveling down south towards Yellowstone. So more adventures to come.